Hello and welcome to the Mindset Model Podcast. I'm Sarah Davis, your go-to confidence coach. This is the place where self-doubt gets kicked out, confidence gets turned up, and you get the tools to live the life you know you are meant for. In this podcast, we dive into real stories, mindset magic, we have guest experts, and the truth about what it really takes to live your best life. So grab your coffee, turn up the volume as we are raising our standards and stepping into the version of you who owns the room. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mindset Model Podcast. I am delighted and I'm excited because today we have got Georgie Blackman, who is the CEO and founder of GB Mindset. Hello and welcome, Georgie.
Oh, hi. Thanks, Sarah.
I am so excited to have you here today.
Thank you. So excited to be on here. My first official recorded podcast. So thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful. I'm really excited to be here.
Amazing. Well, Georgie, when I first saw you at an event talking on stage, I was like, wow, this queen needs to be on my podcast. So I'm absolutely delighted to have you here.
Thank you.
So let's get into it because my listeners, my viewers right now are thinking, okay, what has the mindset model got in store for us today? So I would love you to go into a bit more detail about you, your story, and what you're all about, Georgie.
Oh gosh, great question at the start. So I am a mum. I am a wife. I am a business owner. And I'm also a paramedic.
All the
And
things.
all of the things, yeah. So I've got two small children and a wonderful husband now. We've been married like, oh gosh, 6 years now. She
Love
thinks.
this.
She thinks.
Me too.
Um,
I've been married for 6 years. When's
2019?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank goodness.
When did you get married?
January.
Oh, we were
Yeah.
May. So I love this.
Yeah. So and funny story actually, let's quickly jump in. We were
Yeah.
supposed to get married in July of that year. However, we had a little surprise pregnancy.
How wonderful.
How wonderful. So we brought the wedding forward and just got married on our original anniversary date.
Oh, that's
Because
really nice.
because our daughter was due only 6 weeks before we'd planned the wedding, and I thought, I'm not
Yeah.
doing that. So,
Absolutely not. Oh,
so
incredible.
yeah. So anyway, yeah. So you met me at an event where I was sharing a very personal and
Yes.
transformative story
Yes.
about my life as a raver and transforming into sort of a wellness guru as I am now. So yeah, I spent probably the best part of 15 years of my life partying very hard, going out, drinking quite heavily, taking lots of recreational drugs, and just having a really good time at at the time. So I
Yeah.
thought, but it slowly starts to sort of become part of your identity and form your life and form your social circles, and also you start to actually notice how much of a detriment living a life like that takes on your health and your mind. um but I've always been somebody that has worked really hard and always kept up my job and kept up appearances, so to speak.
Yes.
I've always been training or teaching or doing something in some way, shape, or form with my job. But yes, once I became a mum, or got pregnant, to be honest, sort of that life took a really strong pause, and that's when it really got me thinking that I really need to start changing perhaps some of my habits that I'm keeping. And I've always realised that uh, my my crux was alcohol.
Yeah.
So whenever I would drink alcohol, I would always drink to excess and always end up with horrendous hangover, fear ridden the following few days, filled with anxiety. What did I do? What did I say? Why did I do that? That same old cycle. But it was just a cycle that repeated itself over and over again. And yeah, I got to the point where I started to think something's got to change. So
Was there a turning point? Was there a particular time when you thought, ah, enough is enough?
yeah, so I'd when children come along, I when so I think in general your life changes so much. I'm
Yeah.
talking generically here. Your life changes so much. It kind of gets flipped on her head. I've gone from being a very independent woman with a husband. We always worked really hard, partied really hard, but kept up a house, kept up, done the normal sort of things that normal people do. And um once the children came into our lives, you start to look at things a little bit differently, and you start to realize that actually your world is now these human
Yeah.
beings, and you've got to raise them and be there for them. And anything that they do that might trigger you is not them. They're not manipulative when they're little, so it started to bring up these feelings in me that perhaps there's lots of work I need to do on myself. And
Ah,
actually maybe I've been pushing all of this down with just numbing myself with drink and partying and music. And don't get me wrong, like I still love bass music. Like I am a
yeah.
raver at heart. I love it. I love rave music and I love going out and having a good dance. But you can do that sober. But anyway, yeah, so the children were the first big light bulb to say perhaps things need to change, but it still took quite a long time. So my eldest is 6 and my youngest is 4, and I've been sober a year and a month. So
Wow.
it still took 5 years for this sort of niggling
Yeah.
feeling to come to fruition. And what happened was, is I, I don't think there was one particular right, this is absolutely it moment. I I think there was a couple of things. So I'd asked my husband to do it with me, and he was not really particularly keen because he was like, "No, I don't really think I need to. I don't ever get as drunk as you. I don't drink as often as you do." And he's kind of right, but he still would, but he
Yes. Yeah.
probably was right. Um, and then there was this one particular evening. I'd gone out to a friend's for dinner, and it was only up the road in the village where I live, but still had to drive because it was we're in rural. There's no pass or pavements or
Yeah.
anything. She lives
Yeah.
down this long track, so went to a friend's for dinner, and um then partway through the night decided that it was a good idea to drive home to
Yeah.
yeah. I
Oh.
know. And this was only last year, and I just thought you just see that risk taking behavior increases and awareness of your
Mm.
surroundings decreases. And I just, the shame and the guilt, and my husband was like, this, you just can't do this sort of thing anymore.
Yeah.
And I just said, well, do you know what, I've asked, can you help me then? And I think I just said, we need to do this together. So he agreed to do it together. And then finally, just having that support in the household, knowing that whenever we went anywhere to socialize, there was going to be no resentment built because nobody was going to be getting annoyed with the other person for drinking or doing whatever else. And yeah, then since getting that coherence and, collaboration in stopping and doing this together, it was like seemed to be quite plain sailing. There took a bit of mental strength
Yeah.
to say, actually, no, I'm not drinking. And of course, in the very beginning, it's quite challenging because everybody's like, oh, what, you like the life and soul of the party type vibes. But I was really honest with people, and I just said, look, my relationship with alcohol is really toxic. I was never a drink every night type of girl, but when I did drink, always drunk to excess, and then
Yeah.
stupid behavior just compounded on top of
Yeah.
that. um so yeah, so that was a year and a bit ago now. And I noticed after I had this clarity from not having a foggy head, and, after getting through Christmas, sort of the new year came in, I started to have this realization that I I was meant to do more in this world, and not not just work the 9 to 5 and be part of the system, work for an organization, a company. And it's really hard because it was just an innate feeling, and you can't describe it to anybody else, because if other people haven't just had
Mm.
this feeling, this gut feeling, this intuition of just knowing that perhaps that they're destined for something else, it's very individual. So I had this feeling, and then it was like, right, now I need to figure out what on earth it is. um So I
It's a
spent a
bit
little.
like you had, this experience with the drugs and the alcohol and the partying for a reason, for
Mm,
you to gain that insight of what it feels like to completely shut yourself off and have that fogginess. And then when you made that decision and your amazing husband, he partnered up with you, was like, right, let's do this together. As soon as you made that decision and you chose yourself and your health and your well-being, that
hmm.
is when your purpose started to show itself.
Yeah,
And this is incredible. So what happened after that then? So you had this feeling, because I've had this feeling as well, where I just
yeah.
know I am meant to do more than what I'm doing, like a 9 to 5, being in the
Mm,
system, and society says you have to go and do blah blah blah, all of that
yeah, all of
stuff,
that.
all of that. And it's, you can't, like you say, describe this feeling to other
No.
people, that it's like this calling and this pull and this purpose that you have to step into this, whatever it is. So then you came into a point in your journey when you were like, I want to do more, but I'm not quite sure what it is. What happened then?
Yeah. I spent just a lot of time researching and looking up, and I think I was drawn to travel. So I've always been drawn to travel. I've always been drawn, and I think the
Yeah.
draw to travel is the freedom. So actually, I'm
Yes.
drawn to freedom.
Yeah.
So it's, and so that I kind of was quite aware of that. And so I kept just looking at ways to make money online. How can I make money? So rather than, and then you start to, see your Simon Squibbs of social media, the "Do you have a dream"
Yes. Yeah.
guy, or what's your dream? Sorry, and so because he was quite big in that moment,
Yeah.
he would ping up on my social media. So it got me thinking a bit more like a business. And I was thinking, okay, so what business can I make? What can I do? Can I can, oh, surely I can make my own business, etc. So I started looking, and I think I teetered with like network marketing, had a little look at, making money off of social media and stuff like that. And, there was lots of courses and things around, but nothing quite felt right.
Yeah.
E-commerce, we had a little look in the e-commerce as well. Me and Nat both had a little look at e-commerce, which is like, either digital products or physical products, and you brand a product,
And that's your
to.
husband, just for our listeners.
Yes,
Nat is your husband. And
Nat,
he was
yes.
also having a look as well with you.
Yes, yeah. So he was
Interesting.
having a look. He looked quite a lot at e-commerce stuff. And then we realized that perhaps that wasn't the industry for us. It just didn't quite sit right.
Mm,
We were like, and we'd joined a couple of webinars and stuff, and we just thought, oh, I'm not really sure these are our people. It just had that feeling about it.
yes,
But you had to do a bit of trial and error. Like there's no easy way to
absolutely.
say it really.
I did the same thing as you, and
Yeah.
I looked at, because first of all, you have that awareness and that feeling and
Yes.
that pull, and you're like, right, I have this, but I don't know what it is. And you have to experiment and go out and
Mm,
explore what feels good to you. So I also
yeah.
looked at network marketing and
Hmm.
all of those other things, but like you, it didn't feel right. And it's so important to really build your intuition and listen to that feeling. And it's kind
Yeah.
of like a spark in your soul,
Yeah.
isn't it, when you find
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, 100%. And I will also add that during this whole time, I had discovered meditation. So I'm just going to
Oh,
sprinkle that in there,
right.
but
Go in for it.
we can come on to it a bit more in a little bit. But it was purely by, I think, algorithm. So a lady called, and whether it's algorithm or whether it's the universe doing its thing.
No, that was the universe. That was
Yeah.
universe, God, spirit, whatever you believe in, was like,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
Georgie, you were looking for something, and
So,
this is it, my love.
yeah. So an ad popped up on my social media. I hadn't done any searching to do with anything around mindset or manifesting or anything, nothing at all. And an ad popped up for a lady called Gabby Bernstein, who is a
I love
um,
Gabby.
yeah, so I mean, you know who she is. You can probably explain a little bit better who she is, but she's an American speaker who's got an app, and she is like the queen of manifestation. She's got loads of books. She's just a really fantastic, inspirational woman to just go and see and speak to. But yeah, queen, like the queen of manifesting, really, I would describe
She's
her.
and it's so lovely that we have people like Gabby, like Kathleen Cameron, the late Bob Nicole Proctor, all those people like that
Mm,
who are really speaking up about these other senses which we've
there's
turned off. We've
yes,
just completely ignored as a
yeah,
society.
yep,
And I love the fact that it's coming back. So
yeah,
Gabby was there on
yep.
your news feed, like,
She was.
hey.
Yeah, I've got this 21 day manifestation. Join my community. So I
Yeah.
signed up to her app, and it was only like 20 quid or something for this manifestation. And I signed up, and I loved it. I stuck to it. I loved it, and that's what gave me, because all the meditations were guided. It also gave you journal prompts, and that's what got me into it. And I loved it that much that I then subscribed to the app for the year. And that's where my sort of not hypnotherapy, but that's where my meditation journey started. And I said hypnotherapy because they're very, very closely linked. So that's where it started.
How
So
did you
that
feel? Just a quick question, because
go
I
on.
know that the listeners and the viewers that are watching this are thinking, "Ooh," because when it comes to manifestation, meditation, things like that, everyone's like, "Oh, that's really woo woo," and because of your, background as somebody, who has worked in the private sector, an integral part of being in the ambulance service. How did it feel researching into things which seemed a bit different, a bit woo woo?
Oh, great question. Do you know? And this is also, or maybe going to just sound like I'm not doing it justice. I have always been someone that's so open-minded
Yeah.
to anything, and I think, when it comes even back, when you go back to like the drug taking, I was like, oh well, I'll just give it a try,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, go
see,
on. Yeah.
see what happens, be sensible and just see what
Yeah.
happens. um so I've always been very, very open-minded, and also because I've also done so many daft things in my life through partying,
Yeah.
or even outside. I'm quite a thrill seeker. I've done skydiving and a couple of other
Yeah.
crazy things. I've always been super open minded to anything. And so I think when it came to this woo woo stuff, I would just sat there with curiosity. So nobody
Mm.
forced me to be in that situation. And I gave it my all. So what Gabby was guiding me to do on these meditations, I did. So I stayed open
Amazing.
minded. And actually that is the key to hypnotherapy and any meditation: curiosity, open mindedness. Because if you open your mind and start to think, well, could I do this? Can I do this? Well, am I listening here? Am I tuning in here? You then start to notice the changes. So yeah, because I stay so open-minded, and that, I think it's naturally just part of who I am. But if somebody says to you, just give it a go, be open-minded. So tell yourself, be open-minded, be curious. I had a couple of really mental experiences during the meditations that Gabby was guiding me through, and like I felt a presence, like somebody.
Yes.
And I mean, if you've experienced it, you know what I'm
Yes.
talking about. Like
Absolutely.
somebody was actually hugging me. I could feel the
Oh, I love
sensations
that.
on my shoulders. And then there was another particular experience where you have to call upon anybody, anything. And I had no idea what I was calling in, like, not a clue. I don't really have any strong connections with any of my past
Yeah.
grandparents, or I haven't really lost anybody that I would be like, I'd love to call in, like, some guidance from you.
Yeah.
And this name Michael came in my head, right? And I'm like, who the
Who is
hell is Michael?
Michael?
Well, it turns out he's an archangel of from like, Archangel Michael is apparently this amazingly powerful archangel who comes to you when you need support and love. And I'm like, so I'm reading this thinking, yeah, all right, whatever. But honestly, this name, I don't know where it came from. So the more these little
Yeah.
synchronicities start
Yeah.
to happen, the more curious you become and the more open-minded you become with it.
You can't ignore it, can you?
You
You
can't, no,
cannot.
you
The
cannot.
maddest, weirdest, craziest things happen, and you're like, is this in my head? Am I making it up?
Yeah.
But
Am
it's
I going
not,
mad?
because
But it's
yeah,
not.
because you do feel like an absolute raving fucking nutter, don't
You
you?
do. When I sat there and I had this feeling of somebody hugging me, I thought, when I came round, I'd cried a little bit, and I was
Yeah.
like, what the? fuck just happened to me, man? Like, I'm a normal
Normal
person.
person, yeah.
I'm a normal person. I've got a normal job. Like, what is this? And but then you start to believe in the
Yeah.
magic. And then as soon as you start to believe, you start to notice the synchronicities, you start to notice the signs, you start to get these, your intuition starts to become stronger, your gut feeling. And yeah,
It's
so
like
you
an activation, isn't it?
yeah.
Like you said, when the moment you become open to receive, open to,
Mm-hmm.
becoming aware and finding out more, it's like the floodgates are open and it's like everything happens and you're like, right, okay,
Okay.
we're on this journey now. And you
Yeah.
can't go back. You
No.
can't go back to the person you
Absolutely
were before.
no.
That's it.
You can't unknow what you've
No,
experienced, and you
no.
can't, even though you can't express it fully. And actually, I've come to accept that you'll never be able to do it justice, because
Yeah.
the only way to know is to feel. And you
Yes.
can't teach someone else to feel what they need to feel, because
That's such a powerful point.
yeah, you can. And what I mean by that is, of course, you can support people to improve their feelings. That's a slightly different thing. But to feel the energy of the universe is the way I'll describe it, or, to have that support that the universe and that we're guided, you have to experience it yourself. Nobody can bring about that for you. So yeah,
Incredible. And then
yeah,
you started diving into the
yes,
meditation side of things, the
yeah,
hypnosis, the
yeah,
breath work. These are, would you say, your kind of core pillars of GB mindset? How did that come about?
yes. Yeah, so it came about, and it started off with I did a trauma informed life coaching certificate. So that's how it started. So I landed on this woo woo sort of
Yeah.
situation. I thought, right, how am I going to turn this into a new profession, a job, a business? And I thought, right, well, and I think somebody suggested to me, is like, oh, you'd be quite good at coaching. You'd be quite good at coaching or life coaching. So I thought, well, yeah, I suppose I've done quite a few random things in my life. And so I sort of looked at trauma informed life coaching, and I did a certificate in that. And once I'd finished, something also, it was good, and I'm glad I've done it, and it's definitely served a purpose for helping me create what I'm creating now. But I thought something's still missing.
Mm,
So for me, I'm still a registered paramedic, and just having um that foundation of having something behind me where I'm a registered professional, it's definitely part of my identity and part of who I am. So I thought, right, really love life coaching, but I need to add something to this. I need something a little bit more. So I started
yeah.
looking into holistic therapies, and looking at other types of therapies where you could sort of hold yourself on a with a registration, or be on sort of a register for where
Yes.
people can find you.
Yes.
That was something that I liked that. So
It's a
there's
bit like
loads on
making it tangible, isn't it?
people.
So,
Mm,
because there's hundreds, thousands, millions of people out there that are after these sorts of services, but it's turning your business into something which people can relate to and understand. Because
yeah,
with the woo-woo side of things, other people are like, oh, I don't know what it means. But when you kind of put it into something tangible,
yeah.
it helps.
Yeah. So that tangible definitely started with the name life coaching or transformational coaching. And then when I looked at transformational coaching, I was being led definitely more into the mind. And obviously you've got the mindset model,
Yeah.
mindset coaching. I loved it. But I had then enrolled in my own life transformation program. So so this was all going on all at the same time, all of these things. So I enrolled in this program because I've had therapy before, and I thought I'm going to try something a little bit different. I'm in this position now where I can, I'm going to definitely be going through quite a big change in my life. Let's get myself into a therapy program. So I enrolled in this program, which I found online, and what I was actually searching for was a retreat. So I was searching for a retreat, and then this lady said, "Oh, my retreats this year are already full. 2026, I can put your name down." She says, "I've got these other things that are going on." And I had a little look at her life transformation program, and her main basis was hypnotherapy. And I thought, I've never had hypnotherapy before, but actually, hypnotherapy and meditation are quite linked, and they use different, very, very similar. I mean, they're
How would
How,
you
how
define meditation and
yes.
hypnotherapy for anyone that's listening thinking, what the fuck is that?
So they're almost like two strings of the same bow. So meditation is, so the best way I can describe it, it's like using a camera. So you focus your attention. So you've got your camera and you're focusing your attention, and you learn how to use the camera, you learn how to use the angles, you learn how to change that focus. Whereas hypnotherapy is like being the director of the film. So there's
Oh,
loads of different
wow.
cameras, but also you're creating the story and the bigger picture. So
Mm,
meditation might be on one singular thing, whereas hypnotherapy builds a whole picture. So it's the same type of
yeah.
modality through talking, through relaxation, settling the mind, quieting the noise. But the meditation would be just on one tiny point, and then you sort of learn to relax. Whereas hypnotherapy, you bring in this whole suggestions and build this whole picture and this whole story.
Do
So
they
yeah.
work together? So would you
Yeah,
do one or the other? Would it be prescriptive or what?
I would say that with the hypnotherapy, with the meditation, you might do a little bit of meditation within the hypnotherapy.
Ah, okay.
But definitely relaxation. You definitely incorporate a lot of relaxation through
Mm,
suggestion in hypnotherapy, because of course a relaxed mind and body is
which
much
nobody
more,
has.
yeah, is much more flexible to change. So yeah, so I was in this program, and I was going through the program, and I started to obviously notice how much my life was changing, how much my thoughts were changing, how much I was feeling much more positive. My program made me create my own recording of affirmations. So I've got a recording that I have done of my own positive affirmations that I listen to all the time. And
What's really powerful about that as well is because I've also done my own recordings of affirmations. When it's your own voice,
yeah,
it will sink into the subconscious mind
yeah,
much deeper. It's
yeah.
very powerful.
Very, very powerful. Yeah. And I mean, there was right in the beginning, I used to listen daily. I'm
Yeah.
probably like 2 or 3 times a week now, but I still listen every week because it's just so important. So yeah, so I then landed in my own in that program. But what also came out of that program was, because my self-awareness started to build. I'd obviously launched a website. I'd had loads of things on there that I perhaps wasn't even really truly practicing all of them, in terms of like coaching. I suddenly realized that I was so burnt out. Like I was trying to do,
Wow. Okay.
yes. And this is what the program got me. So I
Yeah.
felt suddenly realized I was so burnt out. So I'd launched a business. I'd had a couple of clients through to
Yeah.
coach, and I was thinking, right, this is cool, this is good, I'm helping these people. I had a structure, I had
Yeah.
some in particular areas that I would work on. But I then suddenly thought, my God, I'm juggling full-time work as a paramedic still, two kids, a house, now trying to build a business. And I'm now having all of this awareness brought to me by being in my own therapy program. I was like, you are burnt out, love. You need to stop. So I actually stopped. So I tools down on the business, but it was still sat there, but I tools
Yes.
down, and I just worked on myself for like 3 months, took time off work from the ambulance service. So my first ever
Incredible.
gap. But funny enough, so at the end of that, when I was preparing myself to go back, I was thinking, right, what might, this is August. So I'm thinking, okay, at this point, I still haven't got, like, I still haven't signed up to my hypnotherapy training. So I'm about to go back to work, and then I'm thinking, right, am I going to go back full time? No, I don't really want to. I thought, do you know what? And then I sat and I journaled, and I was like, I need something to come into my life. I need a sign about the direction in which I'm going to take. What am I going to add to my business? I'm going to relaunch the business. I need a sign. I need a sign. And I shit you not, within 5 minutes, an email pinged into my inbox, and it was from a large company called Mind Valley, who are do you know who Mind Valley are?
No, no.
No, so they're a global brand of wellness. So they
Okay.
have big events on. So big spiritual events, big mindfulness events, and they have loads of courses within their organization that you can sign up to through, like Paul McKenna's part of them, Regan Hillier part. Paul
Oh,
McKenna's a
wow.
famous
Yes,
famous
yeah.
hypnotherapist, or stage. He does stage hypnosis, which is very different. But that's maybe a story for
We've
another day.
heard of Paul McKenna.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, Paul McKenna, a chap called Vishen Larkin, I think his surname is, and Regan Hillier. But so that pinged up into my inbox, and the title was, "Could you be the next hypnotherapist?" So this
No
is just an
way.
it's just an advertising email. And I sat and I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, you absolute drip. This has been in front of you the whole time. So I did a couple of days of
Yeah.
research, and I found the UK College of Hypnosis and Hypnotherapy. Their course is so I'm a cognitive behavioral hypnotherapist, so
Wow.
CBT
Yeah.
hypnosis, so it combines the two. And yeah, it was the course that struck me the most. I thought, yeah, this is fantastic. It talks about how, obviously, how actual CBT works, cognitive behavioral therapies, and how it combines the two with hypnotherapy, to create that lasting change. And I thought, yeah, this is the course. So literally, I got my credit card out, and I was like,
How did
right,
it feel?
got
How did you
myself.
know that it was right for you? What feeling did you get?
So I felt really excited.
Yeah.
I also just had this, again, I feel like I'm not doing it, just this intuition that this was the
Yeah.
right thing to do. So this intuition, but I felt super excited. It all happened without any force. It was
Mm,
just, this idea popped into my head. I did a little bit of searching, did a little bit of research about and the things that were important to me was that I could join a register of
yeah.
professionals, and that the course was accessible, so
Yes.
which is online. I didn't have to go and commit like hours upon end, and it's done within my own time, so I can go as fast or as slow as I like, and it's just in 3 stages. So broke it down really, really straightforward and easy. And yeah, so all those things, and of course I could afford to do it. And
Yeah.
then the other little cherry on the top was when I got to the checkout. It was like, are you employed by the NHS? And I was like, well, yes, I am.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yes, I am. So yeah, got myself a little NHS discount. So it's like all of
It's
these little
meant to
things.
be.
Yeah, all of these little things just fell into place. And yeah, then it really, that has now sparked off this direction in which I'm building GB mindset now. So it's obviously my goal and dream and aim is to have like my own life transformation type program, which will be soaked, sorry, in hypnosis and hypnotherapy with CBT models in there.
It's already
Um,
done, Georgie.
yeah,
That has already happened. The universe has
yeah,
said hell yeah to that one. I
yeah,
just want to go back as well
yeah.
because when I first met you, you did the most amazing guided meditation at this event. You
Yes.
have got such a brilliant voice. And I know that you've spoken about how you're really drawn to language because didn't you work with animals, horses?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that passion that you have
What, so with
for
the
language.
language?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I've always been in awe of people that seem to be able to find the right words, pull out um, a way in which you can communicate with people. And I'm going to use the word layman's terms. And for anyone that doesn't know what that is,
Yes.
basic terms
Yes.
in which people can understand what it is you're trying to say. And without even really realizing, it's something that I've been doing my whole life. So when I left school at 16, and I've always worked with horses. So my mum was very, very passionate about horses, and horse riding was my hobby as a child. And then as I grew into my early adulthood, it was my job. So I trained as a horse riding instructor when I was 17, and I've always been fantastic at teaching children. And it was because I had this love and all this knowledge behind me. And I must say, the way to be able, as something that I've learned, is when you want to communicate something in a way where everyone can understand, you have to have the knowledge behind you. So sometimes this is perhaps where, now moving into adulthood and the mindset stuff, I'm always sometimes still a little bit reserved, because I think I'm still not able to express it in a way in which I think is doing it complete justice in terms of people being able to understand. But going back to as a child, I was always able to really get children to engage and to understand and to learn and to enjoy horse riding. And I added it, it was always fun. And I just had this lovely, lovely group of children and clients, and from loads of different areas from around where I live in the east of England. And yeah, I know my reputation was fantastic. Kids loved it. You can tell from the feedback that you get from the families, and also the improvements that you see in the children. So it was clearly the gift that I was
It's a
given.
superpower. You have a
Yeah, it was.
superpower, Georgie, in
Yeah.
the way that you communicate with people, because that's really challenging, getting a type of information, whatever it is, and breaking it down into a language that children or adults, whoever, can understand.
Mm.
That's magical that you've had that your whole life. So it's a bit like it's always been there, but now you've got this awareness that this is it, with your hypnosis and your meditation and all of those wonderful things you're doing.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, thank you. So it's definitely something that I get really excited about. I get like this little fire in my belly,
And
and
that's it. That's
yeah,
when you get that. For anyone that's listening right now, thinking, oh, really enjoying this conversation and like, how do I know what I want to do? You will know, because you will get that fire, that pull, that sparks, those shimmers that you get. And it's like a full body fuck yes.
yeah,
When you're doing something, it's like follow your joy. And now
yeah,
you've started to do that. You're
yeah.
completely following your path. Like all of these amazing things are starting to come up for you. So now where you're at with GB Mindset, I mean,
Yeah.
tonight,
Yeah.
I hear you've got a fantastic event happening. Tell me more.
Oh gosh, yes, I have. So I and a friend, I've collaborated with my friend Lucy, who is a sound therapist. She's also a veterinary
Wow.
nurse as well. So there's definitely, a link with the animals. And we used to horse ride together as children. So it's very interesting. We've reconnected because of where our lives are changing in so we've only reconnected
Mm.
in the last year, but we've been friends for years, and because of the new direction in which we're taking our lives. So she's trained, so she does Reiki, she does a Kundalini Reiki. I don't want to do it injustice because so I'm not
I
completely
won't ask
sure
what that
what that means.
means.
No, because I don't actually know.
Which
Um, we'll
it's
leave
like
that to her.
energy
It's an
stuff.
energy, yes, energy Reiki, and also sound. So she does sound therapy. And so I've been to a few of her private sessions, and yeah, once I had got enough under my belt with my training at the college, because obviously passed my first stage now. Woo!
Yay!
Yeah, so feel super. I feel confident enough about delivering guided relaxation, and I've got enough knowledge and stuff behind me to deliver the guided relaxation. So we've combined together. So our night tonight is called Breathe, Sound, and Self Belief, and it's just at the local village hall where I live in Lowndes, and we've sold out.
Of
So we've got
course.
20 lovely ladies coming, and gents, I should say, actually, two gents coming. So 20 ladies and gents coming tonight. And the session's going to start with just a really simple guided breath work from myself. So very, very basic couple of exercises. I won't go into too much detail because I don't want to spoil it for the guests tonight. So a couple of guided exercises for very, very simple breath work, beginner breathwork techniques, just to help settle the mind and relax. Then I'm going to go into the guided relaxation. And in there, I've also got a little bit of self belief work. So this would be like the therapy
So
part if we were doing
powerful.
a hypnotherapy. So giving those suggestions about embodying inner confidence, inner power, inner self belief. So within the relaxation, and then just straight into a sound bath.
This sounds like the most amazing evening. And I've noticed over the last few years that there is such a demand
Mm,
for modalities like this, for experiences like this, where
yeah.
I think it probably stemmed from COVID when, that shook everything up and everyone started to question what they were doing. Why am
Mm,
I so stressed? Why am I this? Why am I that? we're both in very high powered jobs, expectations, and things like that. And so many people now are going towards, how can I connect with myself? How can
Yeah.
I relax? How can I, have that self belief, that effortlessness? Have you noticed that as well?
Completely. And I think it's also what drew me towards this industry, because the demand is so high. And do you know, it goes back for me, even as simple as, so I've been doing yoga for probably 10 10 years now. And
Quite a
when I
while.
first, yeah, when I first started doing yoga locally, there was one yoga teacher, one lady, and she used to, I found her from the gym, and then she had her own studio at home. Now, in the same area, there must be 15, 20 yoga instructors in all,
Wow.
and of course we've got social media, which makes it a lot easier for advertisement and stuff like that. But you can, that's, if that's just yoga, which I definitely would class within that that
Absolutely.
same that
Yeah.
same area. um, yeah. So there's the one, the demand is definitely there. The demand is definitely there, and the shift is changing, and more people are becoming a lot more self-aware and just thinking, actually, I do not want to be living my life at 100 miles an hour. And or if I am going to lead quite a fast-paced life, I need to have a let out of some description. And the best way to do that is to connect with yourself and with your body and your mind, because we've only got one vessel, haven't we? We've only
We
got this one
absolutely
vessel,
have only
so we've
one vessel.
got to look after it.
And, you've probably seen many things being a paramedic where, life is so short, our health we
Mm.
take for granted. So, what you're stepping into is so powerful. And, with what you're doing with GB Mindset, could you let our listeners know what other services you're offering?
Yeah, so at the moment, I am only offering the group services. So the services for the group sessions, which are events that are organised, so the workshops. So we've got the workshop tonight, which is the breathe, sound and self-belief. Then in January, I've got another one, which I've called the sanctuary session. So this is a 3-hour session. We've got yoga, and then we've got breath work, guided relaxation, and into a sound bath and a few nibbles. So they're the sessions that I'm offering at the moment. However, my doors are open. Also, my wait list is open for one-to-one hypnotherapy services. So I'm going to I've got 2 more stages to do, and then I'm going to be able to completely open the door to do the one-to-one stuff. And at the moment, I'm leaning towards my specialized areas being habits, so breaking the habit
Yeah,
cycle, fears and
yeah,
phobias, and so the umbrella term is performance, but actually that goes into life. So if when I say the word performance, that could be sport. So specifically equestrian is going to be an area that
yeah,
I'd like to focus on. However, the performance also means within yourself. So if you want to build a bit more confidence, or if you want to build a bit more self-belief, or you need a bit more confidence to be speaking on stage in a certain situation, they're the areas that I'm drawn to at the moment. But I also want to leave that open,
yeah.
because I think I've still got 2 more stages to do. So something else might take my fancy, because another area that did really make my ears prick up was pain management.
Ooh,
Yeah, so hypnotherapy can be very, very good for pain management, especially for chronic conditions. So something like if you've got chronic back pain, or if you suffer with a fibromyalgia or something like that, um, the hypnotherapy can be very, very good, because a lot of the time it can be neuropathic pain. So yeah, but I still need to gather some more information on that first before I definitely set it in stone.
it's amazing that you have got so many is it strings to your bow? Is that the saying? I
I
think
think
so.
that's the
we
term I'd use.
we're going to go with this. And what's amazing about you, George, is you've really built this from lived experience. You've done all the things, you've experienced all the things, and now you've turned, a lot of the traumas and like lived experiences like that into your passion. and you're really bringing that to life. So all of my listeners, make sure you do join Georgie's waitlist, because I'm sure those events will be fully booked, as your event tonight is fully booked. I've just got one, maybe two more questions for you. For anybody that's listening to this podcast now thinking, wow, I'm so stuck in a rut, I'm stuck in a cycle, what can I do? What advice would you give to somebody who is feeling like stuck and running around like a blue-assed fly?
It's the first part of that is you just need to be aware that you are running around like that. So if you've got the awareness, which is the first key, because I think so many of us aren't. So, and the awareness might come from just constantly feeling tired all the time,
Yeah.
or constantly having a busy mind and not being able to shut off, not sleeping very well, all of these things that are meaning that your nervous system and your brain is constantly on the go. So if you have got anything like that, pausing is the first part, and just stopping and saying to yourself, right, something has got to give here. So having the open-mindedness to give yourself a little quick reset in the day. So if it's only 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, to just, if you find it really, just sit in silence and sit with your thoughts. It's really, really uncomfortable when you first do it, and that's okay. And it's completely normal to just be sitting there thinking, oh my God, my brain's not switching off. What's the point? Why am I sitting here? Da 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 da. All of these other things come in. Oh, I haven't fed the cat. Oh, I haven't done this. But just sit with it. That's the first part. That is the first part. Just sitting there with it. Set a timer and sit with it. So giving yourself the space and the time to do that. If you then want to be a little bit more curious, put a little bit of nice ambient music on in the background, or go onto Google and find a guided meditation.
Mm.
They're free. I've got one on my website that you can download for free. So that's www.gbmindset.co.uk. Access the free hypnosis, download it. It's free, stick it on. It's like 15 minutes. So pay that. And again, finish it. So it's about being consistent with the task that you've set out that you're going to do, because you're not going to get anywhere and get through a breakthrough if you try something and go, oh, it's not for me, and then just sack it off. Sometimes when we are this person that's in that busy go all the time, we have to just give things a little bit of a chance. And if you set yourself a goal of, right, I'm going to do it for every other day for a week, great. If you get to the end of that and you think, okay, that wasn't too bad, let's try every day for a week. So whether you're doing this, the sitting in silence or having a guided meditation, that definitely would be where I would start. Also, getting out in nature.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah, you've got to get out in the nature. I know so many people will say about it, but anybody who has, got their feet on the ground is for a reason. They're grounding for a reason. So it's a little bit more tricky this time of year because it's cold, but getting your feet out in that grass, in the sand if you're nearby, in the mud. So ground your feet, just put your hand on a tree to ground your energy. It does wonders for you if you're open-minded enough and
Yes.
curious enough to give it a go. And also, what I would say is, what have you got to lose? You're either going to be staying in this cycle of overwhelm and busyness and constant slight anxiety, slight stress, or high anxiety, high stress. You're either going to keep living that cycle, or you need to do something to break that cycle. So what have you got to lose? Just give it a try.
Absolutely. Give it a try. And then finally, I wanted to ask you about breath work,
Yeah.
because I love breath work. I discovered this, I think, 2021, because I
Wow.
did a course with Catherine Zinkina, who is Manifestation Babe. She's an absolute queen. She loves breath work, and
Mm-hmm.
she said, like, this is one of the tools which we just don't even think about. Breathing
Yep.
is so powerful, and I try
Yep.
to do a breath work meditation at least. I try and do it weekly, but I'll try and do
Mm-hmm.
a couple throughout the months, whatever, try and do it. When I do a breath work, I feel like a completely different person afterwards. So
Yeah.
I'd love to hear about what you do with breath work, how you found it, and all of that good stuff.
Yeah. So for me, this is one of my pillars, and I 100% will be doing a big course in breathwork once I'm
Sign me
through my
up. I'm there.
yeah, once I'm through my hypnotherapy. So I need to do my own training first. There's modules within the college, which is where I've got my experience from so far, and also my lived experience. So I'm gonna like so I've got, I was going to say, I'm going to plug somebody else's business now, but to be honest, I don't care because it's fantastic. So the Breath Pod is absolutely fantastic. It's transformed my life.
Wow.
It's a guy called Stuart Sandman, and the Breath Pod's only been going for a year, but he started on social media. So this month, December, actually anybody can use it for free. So every single morning, 6:30, he does a live in December, and you just work through a bit of breath work every morning. And he incorporates mindset, spirituality, the whole shebang, talking about your chakras, moving all of your energy up through all of your chakras. So I got recommended the breath pod by by somebody who I actually connected with on social media. And yeah, so that it's been absolutely foundational for my life. And then of course this was earlier in the year, and then of course it's then been incorporated into my course, because your breath is your life force, and it can transform everything to do with how you feel, how you act, the way that you move. And if you are very aware and in tune with your breath, you will notice that your breath is the first thing that starts to change whenever you're in a different situation, be it relax or get stressed. So I'll just use those two as an example. Your breath will either become shallower or it becomes deeper, becomes faster, becomes slower. And as soon as you can get control of your breath in any situation, and that comes with practice, you can just transform the way that you are. And then when you can transform the way that you are, you're obviously transforming your perception of the situation. And then it just changes the whole thing, just changes everything about the experience. That's probably the key word, the experience that you're having in the situation. Um, yeah, it's for
A lot
me.
of performers, a lot of people that go on stage, all use a breathwork technique.
Yeah, I can definitely see why. It's definitely going to hold a huge foundation as part of my work when I
Yeah.
create my program. Once I've created my program, it's definitely going to hold that. And I'm very much hoping that the breath pods do their own facilitator training, because that's who I'd want to train with. Um,
Well, hopefully
so
they'll listen to this.
yeah.
That would be incredible. You just offer so many amazing life transformative services with what you're
Thank you.
doing. And my listeners are like, oh my goodness me, where can we find you, Georgie?
So you can find me on social media. So I'm Georgie_Blackman. And you can also go onto my website, which is www.gbmindset.co.uk. And if you are local to the east of England, more so sort of Suffolk, Norfolk border, right on the coast, all of my events are on my website, and you can just book directly through there. So that's where you can find me. And as I said, my wait list is open for hypnotherapy for 2026. So just drop me a message and we can get you added.
Fantastic. I will put all of these details in the show notes so everyone can find that. And I just wanted to say a massive thank you to you, Georgie, for coming on the show, telling us your personal story, diving deep into everything, and, really, giving our listeners some fantastic hints and tips.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Sarah. It's been an absolute, I've had the best time. It's been fantastic. I feel like I'm buzzed ready for my day now.
Oh,
So
we are ready
thank
to
you so
go.
much.
Oh, well, thank you so much, everyone, for listening to
Thank
the
you. Thanks,
Mindset Model
everybody.
podcast. We absolutely love you, and we cannot wait to see you in our next episode.